So he flies out there, beats up terrorists, and saves the girls. And yeah, that's his favor for the day. I've read so much Mark Millar lately, and I was like, oh, I've got to give it a rest. I got to find some other writers out there. But I saw he was saying he's announced it's going to be a follow-up. So I think this was a 6-issue run. It's called Huck. Maybe a bit of a love letter to Americana. I don't know if that's what he was going for here, but that's sort of how I'm feeling it. And Mark loves to do these sort of reinterpretations of existing hero tropes, and that's what he's kind of rolling with here. And in Huck, we've got a character who reminds me straight away of Lenny from Of Mice and Men. So you got a big, you would call him slow or special or something. And it's also like the Green Mile, where these characters, they're not smart, but they have what they lack in intelligence, they make up in heart. So it starts up with a great little panel where he jumps on top of this truck. All right. So straight away you're like, oh, what's going on here? And it turns out, so apparently his superpower, on top of, being super agile, having strength and everything, he can find people. And he can find things, people or whatever. And straight away you see him doing this big dive into the water, and he finds a necklace that was lost or thrown out or something. Yeah, so she gets her thing back. And this is one of the characters here. I can't remember her name, but she's new in town. And here's the old lady, and she's going to tell him about Huck. And she's like, look, this is Huck. This is what he can do. I know it's going to sound crazy, but if you're going to live in this town, you need to keep it a secret, because we love Huck and we want to keep it this way. And Huck wants his privacy, and she doesn't quite believe it. And then essentially what they did is he was orphaned, so they don't know where he came from. And the ladies who raised him to do a good deed every day. And that's what he does. So every day he does something for someone, whether it's moving a stump, or he decides to take out the trash for everyone in town, or pay for everyone's food, or whatever it is. That's what he does. Yeah, so now the woman is starting to believe, because she's seeing all these amazing things happen. And anyway, so he's like working out his possible deeds he could do for that week. And then he sees Boko Haram. And this is so Mark Millar. Boko Haram have kidnapped 200 girls in North Africa. So what does he do? Well, of course, he can find anything. So he flies out there and beats up terrorists and saves the girls. And yeah, that's his favor for the day. And anyway, so he saves them, but now that chick, now she's with her husband, and she's like, I telling you that's him. And then it's like, how much do you think we could get for going public with this? And then that's what happens at the end. So obviously, yeah, they rat him out. He wakes up in the morning and all the media are there. But then straight away in the second issue, you start to see like, oh, there's other people out there that have strange powers. So this is in Russia. This chick can read minds from far away, and now she's in Vermont. Like this is years later, because that was back in 1981. So this is like now it's up here, and she does some sort of like mind trick because like she sees what's going on with Huck, and so she's like, oh, there's something happening. So she has powers there. Huck is, sad because everyone's wanting to, see him, and all the reporters are there. But then he sees a video of people in the crowd, and he sees all these people have come for help. And Huck being Huck, he can't say no. So he goes out and is like, okay, I got to do all these things for people. This missing husband, missing daughter, missing brother, missing dog. So he goes out and finds all this. The missing husband had another family. That's like, oof, that's rough. And, saves this guy from terrorists again. But really the main part of the second issue is now this is all being televised. Now people know about him. The Russians know about him. But most importantly, this guy in North Carolina is looking and is like, that's my brother. What does he say? I've been searching for him my entire life. That's a great little cover page there. That really exemplifies who Huck is as a character. Huck is a good read, says K Manifesto, just in time for the sequel coming out soon. That's why I thought I better finish it. So now that he's famous, the politicians want to, get a piece of him and use him. They straight up call him a retard. They're just making fun of him. It's like super cynical. Politicians, not good people in the Miller world. And they make him take little photos and stuff. But he's had enough of it. And he runs out in his suit. A nice, cool little sequence here. Good on you, Huck. So this is where, on top of this train, he meets his brother and he's like, I've been looking for you for years. Obviously he's been living in secret. So they reconnect and he's like, have you met Mum? If you remember back, the redhead in Russia, you get a little bit of flashback of her escaping Russia and you get a bit of a sense of where they came from, how it happened. She's obviously very superpowered. And she does actually manage to escape. And that's how they ended up in the States. But she's been living in secret ever since. And then the brother is like, now we can go find her because of your superpowers. Because he didn't know where she was either. Okay. Oh, yeah, they were. All right. So this actually is important here. They're doing their tests on her. She manages with her telepathy to get inside the head of this researcher who falls in love with her and helps her escape. And she ends up this. I like this scene. He's like, I've been waiting. I've dreamt of this moment, for years and years. He's like, you make me want to vomit. And she smashes his head against the wall and escapes. I like that bit. All right. So they're going to go on the hunt for the mother. Get these nice scenes of him saying goodbye to the people in the town. This is sort of the woman that, kind of looks out for him. And this is the woman that he kind of has a crush on at the florist, although he's completely oblivious that she has a crush on him too. Anyways, they're out on the hunt, and they have to, just because Huck is Huck, they see things as they're driving past. They hear different emergencies on the radio, so they're at the Huck has to help. He's out, carrying giraffes and bears and rescuing people from fires. But anyway, they do make it to the house, and here's a bit of a turn. So if you do want to read Huck and you don't want the spoilers, now is really the time. But if you don't care, read on, because it gets really good. So he's like, Mom, it's your boys. And she's like, I only had one son. You're like, that's the record scratch moment. And then bang. Now we realize, oh, snap. The brother isn't the brother at all. And yeah, so now, look, it's safe to come out now, Professor. So now here's the guy. And I believe this guy is the dude that fell in love with her. And now he's back for revenge. So he was the guy that held her captive. Look at these great colors. Really nice composition too. This Rafael fella can really make good art. Anyway, it turns out these two aren't even people at all. They're AI robots. As I was saying, like, you think you're going to get a kind of normal story, but it's Mark Millar. So you got like crazy Russian scientists and AI killer robots. And these robots were designed specifically to be able to take down Huck and his mother. So they're in trouble. Anyway, they're being kept in this gulag, this Russian facility. Anyway, they're stuck behind glass here and they're being taunted. And Huck can't get out, and the mum's sad, and this, of course, the Russian scientist has plans to use their powers to take over all of Russia. I mean, why couldn't they? So anyway, they're sort of just having a bit of a battle of the minds, and Huck realizes after talking to his mother and finding out her powers is making people do what she wants them to do. That's why they have to get locked up, so they can't actually they'd subdue her powers and everything. But because she has the power to force people to do what she wants, that he's able to figure out that he can get his mother to tell him to break the glass. And then he can really go dig in, get super sane with this. Great pages here. I love these panels. Look at the boom. You hear you can hear the sound. And you feel like the ground is shaking. Great cartooning too. Just a really stellar page, that one. Colors do look great. So, like, the mom is obviously distressed because, you know, he's crushing his hands, but she's like, keep telling me to break the wall. And he ends up doing it and he gets out. But even then, out here, like, these guys are super formidable. And, you know, so she jumps into action. So again, remember that she's trained to contain her, and the fake brother was trained to contain him. So there's a big epic battle coming here. You can imagine how it's going to sort of end here. He does figure out a way how to kill the robots, but also as well, I mean, now Huck is out, and the professor dude, the scientist, thinks he can escape, obviously not remembering who Huck is and his specific superpower. He can find anyone. So this was a great scene. They've already left. They escaped like 10 minutes ago on a bus. Huck snaps this lamppost and just throws it into the air. It's great. It was a really cool, funny, clever use of Huck's powers, and it just hits the actual bus that has the dude, and then they can get to him. Again, this is just really cleverly written. It was so much more complex and nuanced and subtle than I expected it to be when I started it. But this Russian is like, it doesn't matter, you know, if you send me to jail, I know all these things. I know the science and everything. I'm just going to come back and rebuild bigger and better. So I'll get you eventually. And I know that Huck isn't going to kill me because he's too kind. So what do? The mother tells him to forget everything he knows about science, which, you know, destroys him, obviously. So, yeah, it's really cool. It's a really cool ending, really clever. So there you go. You can see he's completely forgotten everything. And it was just a great, extremely well written 6-issue, fully contained story with a really cool character. And now he's got his mum, and they go back home. And on top of that, one of his last deeds is to tell this woman how special. Oh, it's got so much heart. He even found his mum's missing kitten. Oh, good on you, Huck. You can read the whole thing over on Global Comics and enjoy. From the graphic novel series that Mike Barron calls outstanding and completely original, comes the very first Lucent Premium trading card set, showcasing characters from the book. Printed on the thickest stock possible and finished in high gloss cello laminate. The set of 9 base cards, comprised of 3 separate triptychs, is a must for fans and collectors. And if that's not enough, 1 in 3 and 1 in 10 sets will also randomly receive an additional rare or ultra rare holographic chase card. Plus, the back of each card features an original canon mini comic, so you really don't want to miss out. Available only at thelucentcomic.com.